looks like we're live. Good morning, everyone. Mindy's already logged on, so that's funny. Welcome back for another episode of How I Met Your Mortgage. As always, I'm Adam Smith with Just the Tips Coaching and our marketing director, Jen Wayboer, per usual. And this week we've got a really cool guest. We're going to kind of deviate from our normal thing here, and this will be really unique for you guys. But this week we have Robert Tait. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning.
All right, and I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm just going to lay it all out there. I've got a fairly set MO for doing my lead gen work for coaching clients and those kinds of things, and some of it's automated, and Robert fell into that trap some time ago, probably about a year ago now. And because he's even better at it than I am, he flipped the table on me lickety split, listened to me talk about my business, found out where my pain points are, where my shortcomings were, what failures I was experiencing or was going to experience. And he turned on a light that was probably one of the brightest I'd seen in both my coaching and mortgage originating careers. It was truly eye-opening. And that subsequently led to Rob being one of the speakers at the Mile High Mastermind last year and will be again this year. And Robert has also graciously agreed to come on board and do some of the coaching sessions with our clients through the team structure modules. And this is where Robert's expertise really shines through. So this will be a little different than our normal MO for you guys watching, but it will be phenomenal content. I can't express enough how great the reaction I have had, my coaching clients have had, my colleagues that participate in the mastermind event have had to the things that Robert has been able to share over the different episodes where we've tried to make him as public to these groups as possible. He's a hard man to nail down, but fortunately he has an assistant that runs his life, particularly his calendar. So when we tell her Robert needs to be somewhere, Robert is there. So it works out really well that way. So Robert, give us a little bit of background. I mean, how did this get over such a time period to where you are literally this expert that so many of us seek out for this particular content?
So I started my real estate career back in 2009, and the idea was I was part of a failing office, and the owner of that office said, listen, I need two things to happen. I need this group of people to produce and build a business, and then I need this group of people to go, and then I need a new group of people to do that way. So we have this recruiting thing, and then we have this coaching thing. So he said, I'm going to hire this guy to go get more people in the door. Why don't you figure out how to take this group of people and get them to produce more, right? And I quickly discovered that there's that 80-20 rule in life as well as real estate, which is 20% of people do 80% of the activity, right? And you could just spend all your day just whipping and whipping and whipping, trying to get the 80% to be the 20%. But for the most part, they're not going to be, right? And so focus your efforts on the top 20%. Focus your efforts on the doers, the behaviors. Even if they're new, you can tell a doer from a non-doer. And so I started really focusing all my energies on the doers. Well, what is the biggest pain point of a doer? The biggest pain point of a doer is they don't typically have a life or a business at the end of the day. So I said, okay, if I'm going to really create value for my people, I need to figure out how to help them create a life and a business to which they are extremely happy with, right? Because we all kind of got into this game to have freedom, flexibility, and money, right? If you didn't get into this game for those three reasons, I don't know why. I've never met anybody that's just so into houses or so into mortgages that they're just like, I would be happy dying at this, right? Like, let me sign that last mortgage app and step into the grave. Like, I just love it so much, And then over the last 11 years, that has been my focus. How can I help my producers? How can I help my people grow and develop a business to which they can go on vacations, step out of, sell one day, etc. How do you actually have a business? Like Starbucks is sellable, right? That restaurant is sellable. How do we have the same exact thing in real estate such that the producers, yeah, great, you produce, awesome, but how do you get out of this race of always having to produce? So that's how I got started, was fixing that pain point, which I saw pretty early on. And I spent 11 years figuring out how to do it.
And it obviously works because that's how you and I connected. That was really the attraction, other than you're a beautiful man, don't get me wrong. I don't want to, pull any punches there. But you said to me after listening to my diatribe for 30 or 45 minutes, you said, well, you don't have a business, you have a job.
Correct.
And I didn't understand the statement at the time and inquired further, and you explained it to me very clearly. If you don't get up every day and go do your job, there is no business. There's no nothing. There's no closings. There's no employees. There's no appraisals, negotiations, whatever the case may be in both of these particular industries. And yeah, it really hit home. I think that's something I certainly want our audience to pick up on, is that really, for the most part, no matter who you are, the majority of people, again, probably 80-20 type of stuff in the real estate world, you don't have a business. You have a job.
Yeah. I mean, your first goal should be, how do I walk away from this and go to Africa or China or wherever, right? Just super out of range for 3 months. And when you get back, your business grew.
Wow. Try to get my head around that.
You have a business.
Wow.
And you start with 2 weeks.
Which I know you just did, London, for a couple of weeks.
But how do I build this such that after an extended period of time, yeah, I did. I took I worked 5 days in November. 5 days in November. And
That's
we're going to
amazing.
close 10 million in the first 2 months of this year.
Okay, I hope that our audience is picking up what you're putting down. That is phenomenal type of stuff.
A year ago, I preached this for years. I built this in and around a lot of my mega agents. I've stepped into production, and I'm running the exact same thing I did, and I did this in a year. So it doesn't take long.
Well, and I think what's really important is it can be replicated.
It has to be. If you can't replicate you have a job. You just get used to signing that listing agreement or signing that mortgage app and stepping in the grave. That's your fate.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
But it is reality. No question. And yeah, it was eye-opening for me. And don't get me wrong, somewhat offensive, which is why I took to it so dramatically. Because I've had my mortgage brokerage for 15 years. I've had my coaching company for a number of years. And I still don't have a business. I still have a job, multiple jobs, that I have to get up and do every day until I get to that catalyst.
Correct. But then you went and hired somebody after our conversation.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yep.
And, things are going well with him. You're going to go out and crush it. Soon, he needs to replace you, and you need to be only doing this coaching. Where your mortgage business runs, it provides you an income based on the employees of the business. That is owning a business. The employees provide the values to your clients such that you are now the business owner.
So we still want to follow along the lines of hire smart people so they can tell us what to do, not hire smart people and tell them what to do.
Oh, correct. Yeah. Sutherland's, I call her my assistant, but she's more like my partner, my operations manager. At this point, I don't do anything without her involvement, her direction, and she's leveraged out where I don't show up anywhere if Sutherland didn't put it on my calendar.
And certainly without her approval.
Correct. Yeah.
What maybe we should talk about Sutherland's involvement in your dating resume later and what she does and doesn't approve of.
I don't think she wants to touch that.
Okay.
But we'll find out.
Okay. All right.
She's
So
watching this, so she'll tell me.
we're certainly never going to have time to cover anything in depth about what these steps and stages look like. So hopefully, with a little bit of luck, you can kind of truncate some of this for us and give us some 30,000 foot overview of what it looks like to go from the majority of real estate agents that, they might have a TC, maybe even a dedicated one, but that they are involved with every buyer, every seller, every negotiation, every contract, every closing, every inspection, to where I could, or they could, or you do disappear for a month and the business still grows. How do we bridge that gap? Because it's a gap, it's a chasm.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, we'll start with the things you shouldn't do, which I see everyone wanting to do first, which is go hire sales first.
Uh,
Dumbest idea you could do, right?
okay.
You don't go hire another mortgage officer if you don't have Adam's team or a team like Adam's behind you. Dumb. Don't go hire all these agents, without a Sutherland and her team behind her. You have to get the operations side of your business, the service side of your business, nailed down to a T with repeatable, predictable results. Before you go off and try to hire salespeople like because we're squirrel brains. We run around. We're good at getting stuff done. We're good at relationships, but we are not good at all the stuff that actually gives us repeat business, which is service, right? So Sutherland's job is to figure out how to service everything else and just keep me in the field as much as possible. Once that's fully systematized and done, then we can add in additional salespeople. Go get your operations manager hired first. Don't go, don't, and if they're not a rock star, you can't hire a salesperson.
Okay,
I think
so
that's the first big
systems
tip.
systems have to be in place, processes have to be in place. So those kinds of things need to take priority over the influx of business.
Oh yeah.
Well, and don't get me wrong, it does seem counterintuitive because I want people bringing that money in so that I can afford these things.
Well, you actually earn the right. So we're not necessarily a restaurant where we could just spend 150 to $200,000 of capital, build all the systems and hire the employees, train them for a month and a half, and then open our doors and say, "Here's a hamburger, you're gonna love it." Um, I actually tried that. I tried to open a real estate sales team, much like a restaurant would open, and it didn't work. Right? It has to be. I can get so successful such that I can afford an assistant, such that then the assistant helps me service my clients better. I figure out what that only through that assistant do I actually figure out what my value to my clients are. Otherwise, I'm just running around being, Rob or Adam all over the place. The assistant helps you figure out what your value actually is and helps you deliver it. Now, once you have that aspect, you can then teach agents how to be you because all of your operations are figured out. All of your operations are handled. You just hand your assistant, here's a listing that I just got signed. Make them happy. I'm going to go back out in the field. And that's when you can teach other agents, here's the mortgage app. I'm going to go back out in the field and get another realtor partner or, do my thing. You make this person super happy. That's why it's the most important thing. Hire the assistant.
Okay, and I know that I'm delving into details when we're never going to cover everything to begin with, but I'm curious, and I'm hoping that that translates to our audience being curious. Where do you solve that problem? Where do you answer that? So in the exact modern world, what kind of values have you discovered about you? Have your clients discovered about you because of Sutherland being there?
So I'm probably like most of us, right? I'm good at really promising, and I mean it. Like we're gonna really take care of you. It's gonna be seamless. We promise this how this transaction will look, right? We don't just promise we're gonna net you the most amount of money. We don't. Of course they want that, but they want that service aspect. If all we were was a transaction to which netted a certain dollar amount, then Zillow will beat us, right?
That's
You
well
guys, you
said.
guys understand that. If we're a commodity that all it does is produce a number at the end, Zillow will win. All those discount guys, they'll win, right? For you guys, Rocket Mortgage or whatever, they'll win. If that's what we are at the end of the day, they'll win. So what Sutherland helped me do is deliver on my promises and help me figure out how to make bigger ones.
Oh, Okay.
how to make bigger service promises, how to, add extra levels. And as we grow, that's what we're going to do. Our service side is just going to continue to grow, to which will help grow the rest of the business. People are going to be like, oh my God, my realtor got a private car for me or whatever. Um, all of those things that help grow our business, Sutherland and her team are the executing, making sure it happens, always get it done.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
It certainly does, and is a valuable answer as well. All right, so we know that that's got to be the first piece in place, is that it's got to be that assistant, really. And I do see a lot of agents hire a TC first, and not necessarily an assistant. And while a TC is certainly a valuable ad because they understand the ins and outs of the real estate process, the sale process, the acquisition process, contracts, deadlines, where's the inspection, where's the appraisal, those kinds of things. But you really believe that there are more service systems to put in place that are necessary outside of the actual transactional process itself.
Oh yeah, I mean, people hire a TC because it's cheap. Now let that sink in. Because it's cheap. What kind of business are you building? Why don't you hire an assistant that helps you give A-level service, and however that looks like for you, such that your clients give you repeat referrals and are raving fans? Because there's some great TCs out there. They're building their business, not yours, and they're cheap. And you're just a commodity to them. The transaction's just a commodity. Again, Zillow will win if that's how we play this game.
Interesting. Wow, that's profound. I hope our audience picks that up.
And like you and I talked
I
about,
lost
Robert, did you lose us?
I'm
Robert, you and I talked about, do you want an employee or do you want a team member? Do you want somebody who's helping you or just there for the dollars and cents?
Well, that I remember Robert saying a whole lot of detail about that particular subject when he spoke at the Mile High Mastermind. And a big piece of that was how to attract and retain. Are you really treating your team members like team members rather than them just being employees? We certainly, fortunately for me, for you, there was a lot of that already going on in our businesses. But yeah, that is something to really take to heart is do you want an employee or do you want a team member? No question. And it looks like we've lost Robert. Jen, are you getting that too?
Yeah, he's frozen, now disappeared. I'm sure he'll
Oh, there he is.
on.
Maybe.
Oh.
All right. Well, maybe you and I are smart enough to elaborate on some of those particular things. And I know that there was one specific example. Robert, are you back? Maybe?
I'm like half back.
I'm like half back. Okay.
If you want, I can dial in.
No, you're fine. We were just discussing in that gap that there were a number of things that you had expressed to our audience at the Mile High Mastermind event about how to really solidify people that are team members, not employees.
Yeah, so an employee at the end of the day turns off, right? Are you there?
Yeah, we hear you. Go for it.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep, you're good.
They turn off, right? They don't think about your business after 5 o'clock. They don't think about your business on the weekends. They know that their employees are commodities, just like anything else. Here, I'm going to give you this $20 an hour, and for that hour, more or less, you're kind of mine, except for when you're on Facebook and going to the bathroom and doing all those sort of things. But if you empower people to be partners in your business, to own your business kind of not at the same level, but on a certain level as you do, then you're going to have all the things that you don't have, which is, you're going to have creativity, you're going to have ownership, you're going to have responsibility, you're going to have buy-in, you're going to have thought processes that matter, you're going to have passion, right? what is it? Gallup pulled it something where 76% of people are disenfranchised with their job. 76%, right? It's massive. Go build partnerships with people that have this buy-in and this love of your business, and you'll see it explode more than you could have imagined.
That I don't know that you can put a price on that. That may be some of the most valuable business building concepts that ever existed in somewhere in an arena where somebody has a direct to consumer type of sales gig like real estate or mortgages, insurance, financial planning, on and on.
Yeah. I mean, I'm building it out now where I'm giving Sutherland a small equity stake of, all the little parts of my empire. Why? Because she's that critically important and she's leaning into me and my world that much. She's earned it. And I want her participation and I want that to grow. And I want me as an owner.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Looks like Robert's breaking up again, but I certainly get the motivation between vesting your employees in your business. It motivates them, it motivates you, it builds the business, it furthers the entire operation, it makes everybody on track with the exact same goals. So it's absolutely logical to me.
Yeah, and I know at Mile High, Robert talked a lot about like because compensation is a huge concern, especially in that first hire, and in providing more than just dollars and cents, providing the experiences. Like I think the example he gave was, a thank you trip for an employee instead of a thank you bonus, and
Right,
creating
yeah,
that culture like we talk
he
about all the
did
time.
say something to that effect where he could give somebody $1,000 bonus or buy them $1,000 vacation, and they would use the $1,000
Mm-hmm.
vacation. And if you just gave them $1,000, they would never take a vacation with it. They would, pay their bills or buy a new dishwasher or whatever the case happens to be. So, yeah, there was some
Yeah.
significant value in there about how to have a psychological working knowledge of what those hot buttons for your team are. Where are you going to compensate them favorably in a manner that's going to make them lean in even further, make them more committed, those kinds of things. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we use Sutherland as an example, right? And I don't know how to make the. I switched to my phone, but I'm still on video here. Um, so just because it's more reliable.
You're fine.
So Sutherland wants this particular car, right? And if I were what, 600-700 bucks a month or something like that, maybe even less. She's not that she's not as fancy as I am. So probably less than that. So I could either give her a bonus of that amount of money, which she would love and appreciate, but that would just add up as a number, right? She'd be like, now I make $56,000 a year or whatever, right? But then if I bought her that car and she showed up at work one day and I'm like, here's your car, use it. This is your car, right? I get the same financial effect as giving her the money. Actually, I get a better effect because I don't pay taxes on that. It's been 11.52%. But more importantly, she goes, holy crap, Rob listened. He cares. He knows this is important. And then she runs around telling everybody, my boss bought me a car.
Wow. Okay, so Jen, we're done. I'm going to go work for Rob now.
Okay. I am too.
Actually, of all the people that should, Jen, you need a car. So yeah, that Rob, we may have just solved a number of problems for the both of you.
Perfect.
That's good. All right, so
We're
Rob,
married. We love you. You guys are talent.
Perfect.
there are obviously dozens or hundreds or thousands of steps in between getting to where I am a single entity. I'm trying to do my own lead gen. I'm trying to generate my own contracts, buyers, sellers. I'm doing all of that legwork to the point where I have a business where I can disappear for 3 months at a time and the business still grows. What do you think are the most important pieces outside of that first hire? What other major milestones occur going from me being the solo guy to me having a business where I can take off for 3 months and it still grows?
So the first thing is, a business is nothing more than repeatable systems at the end of the day, right? So you have two aspects of every business. Do you have repeatable systems, and do you have methods to get people to do those systems? That's all a business ever really, really is. So the first stage is, what are your systems for all the different aspects of your business? When you have at least a basic manual of each one of those, then the biggest question is how do I put people in them so that they repeat and do it, right? I'd say the milestones start with get that assistant. She helps you create your first operations manual. And I think the second, and then once all your ops manuals are done, your marketing, your operations, etc., then you have your training manual. I think that's the next huge milestone is how do I train someone to be me such that I don't have to be me in sales anymore?
Okay.
Which is where you're at. You're building that with your your loan officer.
Right. Right.
I mean, you have probably the most systematized business in mortgage I really encountered, and that's a huge compliment. Now, once you build out that, you use that same strategies and methods to build out your sales so that you don't have to be in sales anymore. You're done, Adam. And honestly, you're 12 to 18 months from that if you want it.
Well, that's certainly within the goal. So, okay. That's in my timeline.
Yeah, that's it. So, and then once you have that, so as a business owner, what you actually earn at the end is you earn the right to grow your business in any direction that you want and insert yourself into the business anywhere you feel it needs to. That's what you earn the right. When you don't have to be in sales, when you don't have to be in operations, then it's how big do I want to grow this, and where do I need to be to do that, or where do I want to insert myself into this business such that that aspect gets better. Does that make sense?
That not only does it make sense, but it's monumental kind of stuff. That's the reward that you get from, that's what you reap when you sow along these lines, is the freedom to be involved in your business or not. If you want to be involved in your business, where? Is it something you think you need to do? Is it something you think you want to do? Is it in ops? Is it in sales? Is it in lead gen? Is it, in closings? And whatever the case may be, that's the pearly gate to all of this, is that kind of freedom, while the business still continues on its track no matter where you go.
Oh, huge. And don't forget, there's a wake of people that you're causing awesome lives with in general, and not just your clients. As you grow as a business owner, you'll soon discover that your clients, the people you need to worry about, are the ones on your team. And if you worry about them so much so that they feel loved, appreciated, and cared for more so than they ever have in any arena, they'll totally take care of your clients. Like, I have one agent that I have this 92-year-old client, and he still goes over and chats with them. And he's like, well, don't tell Rob that I want to do my next real estate transaction with you. And I'm like, that's fantastic. Perfect. That's exactly
That's the goal for everybody. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Not a
you
secret.
take care of your people, and then they'll take care of the people.
All right. So I wholeheartedly agree with this. Our mindset in the mortgage practice is client first, team second. Although maybe there's some shift that needs to occur in there. Regardless, I'm not buying any of my clients or Jen a car. Just Jen, there's no point in even asking. I know.
Rob,
I know.
I need to come talk to you.
All right. I will fly you around the country for different conferences.
That's true.
Okay. But I know you've got a bit more of a travel bug than you do a driving bug anyway.
That's true.
So yeah, no brainer there. But again, something that is unique to knowing your team. And as I suspected, that is actually 30 minutes. Rob, I want to put a couple of things out there I want you to before we're done, because this is really a unique opportunity for those of you watching to be involved with someone in an environment that is light years ahead of what team building looks like in our industries. So, Rob, if there are people that want to talk to you further or might even be interested in being part of this team where somebody would buy somebody a car, for crying out loud, how do they find you? How do they reach out to you?
So they can either find me on Facebook or Instagram. Adam's teaching me that those are important things. I'm a terrible millennial. So it's just Robert Tait. We run Downing Street Brokers, or you can always contact Adam, and Adam has all my pertinent information, and we'd love to set something up. And, you know, I have a passion for this, so I would love to help you get out of the rat race.
Perfect. All right. So, Jen, we know full well that Robert will be back on the show. Let's see if we can't get him in again before the year is out. In fact, that might accompany the Mile High Mastermind very nicely in that window in the fall. And of course, if you guys do want that information, or you want to reach out to us, or you want more information about us, or if you want to be a guest on the show, if you want a copy of my book, Just the Tips, by all means, use that text code at the bottom of your screen. Text TIPS to 63566, and it will ping you back all kinds of goodies. Robert, don't go anywhere. I'm going to run our extra, and I will be right back. Thank you for joining us today, and for all of you watching live and in syndication.
Bye, thank you guys. You can't see me, but I'm here.